I can't believe how Adam Peters just shut up every expert who clowned the smartest move this organization has made in years. Because while half the world thought our GM had lost it for making a trade that barely cost a 5th rounder, the same player everyone had already written off is now flipping into the missing piece for our offense. And that's not even the whole story. Because there's a young receiver absolutely breaking out right when Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown are both sidelined, showing this franchise finally gets how to develop talent when it matters most. But here's what's really keeping me up at night: an injury on the D-line means we gotta activate a veteran who's been stuck on ice. And this call could make or break whether our defense keeps up the pace. We need to actually do something in the playoffs. If you thought this season couldn't get any wilder, you're flat out wrong. Because what's going down in Ashburn right now is gonna set the tone. Not just for the rest of the year, but for the future of this franchise for years to come. After decades of watching this franchise make daily moves that made fans shake their heads wondering if anyone in the building actually understood football, we finally got a front office guy playing 3D chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Let me put it like this: when Adam Peters traded a 5th rounder for Debo Samuel Sr. from the San Francisco 49ers, the reaction was so wild that even I was scratching my head for a second. But here's what set Peters apart from all those analysts trashing him on national TV. Peters had worked directly with Samuel in San Francisco, knew exactly what kind of player he was getting, and even more important, knew how much gas Samuel still had left if he was put in the right environment. I think Peters saw something nobody else wanted to admit. While the Niners were so desperate to ship Samuel out that they ate $4 million in dead cap money, our GM had the vision and guts to bet on an all-pro who just needed a change of scenery. And you know what he did next? Restructured his contract to give him more guarantees, showing he didn't just believe in the player, he was ready to put money behind that belief. Now let me ask, how many GMs in this league actually got the stones to make a move like that when everyone's calling them insane? I think Peters figured out something that the experts totally missed. Samuel never lost his talent, just his motivation in a situation that had run its course for everybody involved. So what's happening now on the field? Samuel is balling, with Terry McLaurin battling a rib injury and Noah Brown out. This 32-year-old is the perfect safety blanket for Jaden Daniels, just for games in, and Samuel's already on pace to top 1,000 all-purpose yards, something not many guys his age are doing in this league. But here's where it gets super interesting on a technical level. Cliff Kingsbury isn't just using him like an old-school wideout. They're putting him in motion, running jet sweeps, using him in short yardage packages, and even putting him back there on returns when needed. That's true elite versatility. Remember when all the talking heads said Samuel was out of shape, that he'd lost his edge? To me, those same experts never got inside the mind of an elite player who just needed to feel valued. Again, because when I watch Samuel now, I see a dude playing with a chip on his shoulder the size of the Washington Monument. So, let me ask you straight up, isn't it a little sketchy how a guy everyone called washed is suddenly playing like it's 2019 again? I'm telling you, the difference isn't physical. It's all mental. Samuel's got an environment where he feels appreciated, knows his role, and understands that he can really be part of something special. From a cap perspective, this move is even more genius. The Niners took most of the financial hit. We got an all-pro for pennies on the dollar. And Peters still has room to extend Samuel if he keeps producing. While teams like Dallas are shelling out $50 million a year for receivers who can't stay healthy, we're getting top production for a fraction of the price. And the wildest part, once McLaurin and Brown are back to full speed, Samuel will have even more room to operate. Picture the sets Kingsbury's gonna cook up with all that talent on hand. Opposing defenses are gonna lose sleep trying to figure out who to cover, because now we got 3 receivers who can change a game in one play. Honestly, I think this trade is about to be case study material around the NFL for years. Proof of how a smart GM can spot hidden value where everyone else just sees headaches. Peters didn't just rescue Samuel's career. He instantly boosted our playoff chances without wrecking our future financially. If that's blowing your mind, just wait for this next one. When it comes to developing young talent in this league, everyone knows patience is key. But sometimes the situation forces you to put the pedal down, and that can make or break a prospect's whole career. And that's exactly what's going down with Luke McCaffrey, a kid a lot of folks in this city saw as a long-term project, who's now blew up right when we needed him most. After years of watching this team waste draft picks because they couldn't be patient with development, we finally got a coaching staff that gets the difference between applying pressure on a young player and actually setting him up to succeed. Dan Quinn and company saw McCaffrey's potential from day one of camp, even while half the fans were saying he'd probably get cut before week 1. I think the key here is knowing this kid's unique background. McCaffrey isn't your typical receiver who's played the spot since high school. This is a guy who was a quarterback at Nebraska and Rice, who sees the game on a whole different level, and who had to completely transition to wide out just in 2022. Think about that. A kid with McCaffrey bloodlines learning an entirely new position, while dealing with third-round level expectations. But what really gets me hype is the timing. 4 games in, and McCaffrey already has more than half of last year's total receiving yards. He's got the touchdowns after going 19 games without finding the end zone once. That's not a fluke, that's rapid development. Tell me you saw that kick return for 58 yards against Atlanta, right? I was screaming at my TV when I saw that burst in vision. If it wasn't for the last guy back, we'd be talking about a highlight reel touchdown that could have totally flipped the game. On the technical side, McCaffrey isn't just making plays as a receiver. He's bringing the kind of versatility you love in a guy with his pedigree. That 2-point conversion against Green Bay in week 2 showed he's got hands and mental toughness for clutch moments, and here's why this matters for our future. McCaffrey's getting developed the way we pictured when he was drafted. His brother Christian didn't become a superstar overnight. He had to learn, adjust, and find his spot in tough NFL offenses. The difference is, Luke's going through that transition in an organization that finally knows how to do this right. I really believe that the pressure from our historic NFC Championship run last year and all the buzz surrounding this season gave McCaffrey exactly what he needed to speed up his learning curve. There's no time to sit back and wait. It's now or never, and this kid is showing up like a true pro, technically. What impresses me the most is how Kingsbury isn't forcing McCaffrey to be something he isn't. They're building specific packages to maximize his speed, his QB-level football IQ, and his natural knack for finding open space. But here's the million-dollar question. Can McCaffrey keep up this level once McLaurin and Brown are fully back? I'll tell you right now, if he keeps growing like this, they won't be able to take him off the field. He's not just showing raw talent. He's showing real understanding of the game and the ability to step up under pressure. And isn't that exactly what you want out of a third-round pick? Someone who takes a year to get it, learns the system, then blows up when the door opens. McCaffrey's doing exactly that, and what that means for our offense down the road is huge. But that's nothing compared to what's next. Reality in the NFL hits hard and without warning, and our defensive situation just got dicey at the worst possible time. Javonte Jean-Baptist's pec injury comes right as the 7th-round kid was finally getting in the groove as a rotation edge and showing why Dan Quinn believed in him from day one. But you know what? This situation is forcing us to face something we maybe should have handled weeks ago. When we signed Preston Smith after Dietrich Wise Jr.'s nasty injury, everyone knew we were getting a proven vet, but one who'd need serious time to get back in NFL shape after sitting out for months. So let me ask, how much slack do we really have left with our D-line depth already stretched thin? Over 60 tough minutes. I think Quinn's been too conservative with integrating Smith, and now things are moving so fast. The timing might actually work out for everybody. 70.5 career sacks don't just happen by accident. That's the sort of all-time production nobody else on our roster can even come close to matching. We're talking about a guy who's lasted over a decade in this league, picked up every trick in the book, and knows exactly how to bring pressure even if he's not the freak athlete he was 5 years ago. But is it even fair to expect a guy who's been basically inactive to just jump in and make noise against elite O-lines? Wrong question. The real question is, are you better off taking a shot with a vet with real NFL credentials, or putting all your hopes in young guys still learning the ropes? Here's the thing, Smith is back in DC for the 2nd time, and that matters. This man was drafted here in the 2nd round in 2015. He put up for good years before heading to Green Bay and became a big key to their playoff D. He knows the culture, knows what's expected, and knows what it means to wear burgundy and gold in this city, strategically. The Week 5 matchup with the Chargers could be the perfect coming-out party for Smith. Reports are Joe Alt might be banged up or even out, meaning that LA's O-line could be vulnerable right where Smith has always been at his best. But what pumps me up about this is that Smith's got something to prove. He's seen his numbers drop the last couple seasons and probably knows this may be the last chance to help a team with legit Super Bowl hopes. That edge can be exactly what this D needs to bring the spark we missed against Atlanta. But here's the detail not every fan thinks about. Quinn can't just toss Smith in for third down long and hope for some magic. He has to be smart about the snap count, rotations with other edge guys, and designing packages that play to Smith's current strengths. I believe the key is letting Smith hunt in obvious pass downs, where his QB reading skills and pass rush moves can make up for any dip and burst. Justin Herbert might be super talented, but he can get jumpy with steady heat, especially when it's coming from angles he's not looking for. So let me ask, wouldn't you rather see Quinn get aggressive with his D-line rotations, instead of playing it to safe and losing games because we don't have enough pass rush? The truth is, we have to find ways to pressure the QB, and Smith is hands down our best shot right now. What happened with Jean-Baptiste reminds us just how thin depth can get in the NFL. One snap, one injury, and your whole game plan is out the window. That's why smart teams always keep vets like Smith in reserve, ready to step up the moment they're called. Do you see the pattern taking shape here? Every one of these situations shows exactly why this franchise is finally building something solid and worth believing in. Peters is taking smart risks that other GMs either can't see or are too scared to make. Young talent like McCaffrey stepping up just the way we banked on when we drafted them, and vets like Smith waiting for the moment to help build something bigger than themselves. The core difference between today's Commanders and the teams we've suffered through the last 2 decades. We finally got leadership that understands both the big picture and the little details that make or break a pro team. Quinn knows when to let a young player grow and when to kick things into high gear because of circumstances. Peters finds value on the market nobody else wants or dares to chase. And the players, both young and old, are 100% buying into what this team is building. Is it a coincidence that everything's falling into place right when we need it the most? Absolutely not. This is the payoff from smart planning, real team culture, and players that are digging in every day for something this city hasn't seen in more than 30 years. Samuel's story totally backs up Peters' philosophy. Don't be afraid to make aggressive moves when you spot under-the-radar talent. McCaffrey's breakout shows the staff can really develop and use young guys when it counts. And the deal with Smith proves that in the NFL you always gotta have vets ready to go when the moment is right. And here's where it heats up for the rest of the season. Because if Samuel keeps balling out at this level, McCaffrey grows into a legit threat, and Smith gives meaningful snaps off the edge, suddenly this team's got depth and versatility in key spots that almost nobody in the league can match. I think these 3 developments are gonna be absolutely critical for deciding whether we run it back or top last year's historic ride. Because championship squads aren't built just on superstars at headline spots. It's about having a full depth chart of guys who can step up and contribute whenever their number gets called. Now I want to ask you directly, my Commanders family, did Adam Peters deserve all the hate he got for the Debo Samuel deal? Or are we finally ready to admit that our GM is straight up playing on another level? Do you really think Luke McCaffrey can keep up this role the whole year when target competition heats up? Or is this just a hot streak before defenses catch up on tape? And what's your take? Are you in favor of getting Preston Smith on the field right now versus waiting until he's all the way back? Knowing every Sunday without enough pass rush puts us one step closer to missing the playoffs. This is the exact kind of talk we need as a fan base, because these choices won't just define 2025. They'll lay the blueprint for how this franchise moves for years ahead. If you're as fired up and invested as I am about where this thing's heading with Peters and Quinn calling the shots, smash that subscribe button right now. Don't miss a single update from the most crucial Commanders season we've seen in decades. You think Peters has more moves ready in the stash? Think McCaffrey can become an every-down weapon even with a full-strength receiving corps? Do you believe Smith can find enough juice to make game-changing plays against playoff-level squads? Hit like if you're convinced this front office finally has the vision and execution to build something lasting. And drop your most brutally honest thoughts in the comments. Because this community we're putting together is more than just subscribers. We're a family who's suffered together for decades. And now, at last, we got legit reasons to dream about Burgundy and Gold confetti falling in February. And remember, hail to the Redskins. Skins.